Hey everybody, Holly Tkac here with another masterclass as part of the Influential Coach Academy. And I am back with Susan Bach. And I say I'm back because I actually did an interview with Susan before and she was so awesome. I had to have her back on. And even just before this call, she was dropping some truth bombs with saying that, just the managing your mind can really make such a difference in how, we feel about our day. So I'm really excited for today. You're going to be teaching us how to attract more ideal clients. Who doesn't want that? So before we hop into the training, spend a brief minute to tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll dive in.
Awesome. It is so great to be back with you, Holly. Thank you for this. And you are just totally adorable in pink. I love it.
Thank you.
It is you. It is you. A little bit about my background. I think how I could best summarize my work history up until the point that I started my own business is that I was a misfit. I didn't fit in wherever I was. And the reason for that is because I didn't really know who I was. And I was trying to be people that I wasn't. As a result of that, I had no idea who the real Susan was. Although I hid behind all sorts of camouflage and masks so that you wouldn't know that, because you see, I didn't want to be discovered as a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And so when my corporate career ended, which was in 2001, and it was a very successful corporate career, I was a C-suite executive in multinational advertising agencies.
Mm-hmm.
The reality of not being authentic and true to myself, not knowing who that is, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do with the rest of my life, hit me like, oh no. And that's when I realized that I definitely didn't fit into what I had been trying to do, but that didn't mean that that needed to define my life. And so I decided to launch my own business, and there was not an entrepreneurial bone in my body. I thought, I don't fit anywhere else, so maybe I can make a fit here.
Yeah.
Well, oh my gosh, that was 2001, and I've never looked back. Because that was the defining moment for me when I realized that I had the opportunity, like most of us do, to really make an impact in the world with my uniqueness when I got in touch with what that is and how I could monetize that, so that ultimately I could have a business and a life I love. And yes, you can have both. I'm living proof, as are you, Holly. However, it all starts on the inside. It has nothing to do with your website or your marketing or any other excuse that we want to use, of which I had used all of them, plus some you probably haven't heard of.
Yeah.
It has to do with the belief that you have a purpose and you are the only one who can share these gifts with the world because you're the only one who has them.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. That's who I am today. It's all about defining what that uniqueness is and designing a business around it so that your business works for you rather than you working for your business. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. And I just want to second that. Like, it's just such a mindset thing all the time. Even now, like, there's things where I'm like, this is hard, but like, it was completely debilitating a year ago. And now I'm like, okay, this is hard, and I might have my moment about it, but I can still like show up and like be on this interview or whatever is happening on my calendar and still be committed. So I'm learning so much about that, and it's just like something where I get to embrace that it's just a part of life versus thinking, like, I used to think that I did this leadership training and now like there'll be a moment when I've arrived, and it's just like, I've arrived and things are all working and it's just always going to, it's just going to be that way forever. I'm going to get to that point. It's just that way. And I'm like, no, because like now every time I hit a new level, I want to go to another level. So
exactly.
There's just always the growth happening. Yeah.
That momentum, I think, is what keeps us vibrant, Holly. It's what keeps us engaged and connected, because as we evolve and grow and have more to offer, so do our ideal clients. They're not stagnant. We're not stagnant.
Mm-hmm. And so I think like if we think about most of the people, a lot of the people tuning in will have started their coaching business in some way. So, just have that question in the back of your mind as you're listening to this interview, like, what's my next level in this moment? Even if it's just a small thing, like, maybe it's not, going from that 100K to a million, but maybe it's just like, next client, I'm going to sell, I'm going to sign them for 12 months instead of 6.
Exactly.
That would be like an up level for me. And, what is that for you? And then we'll move forward. So, yeah.
Excellent suggestion. So what is that next level?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that as coaches, Holly, that's one of the questions that we need to ask our clients. Because as a coach, my whole philosophy is that we are the bridge between where our clients are and where they want to be. We help them build that bridge.
I totally. And there's a lot of ways I could serve people that I've served in the past, and they have already an experience with me. And so that might be, that's something I'm always looking at. How can I go back to the people I already know instead of always feeling the pressure of like, and serve them more to get to their next level, whatever that is.
Exactly.
Always feeling the pressure of like, finding new people and having them to get to know me.
Right.
And coaches can do that too.
Yes, we can.
So what are like the number one things that you tell your clients when it comes to attracting more ideal clients and really like going to that next level?
There's actually 3 things that I think we do inadvertently to alienate ourselves from our prospective clients. And I'll tell
So that's not good. We don't want to do
that. And these are the 3 examples I'll share with you, Holly, are the ones that I see most frequently in my clients.
Okay.
And the first one is that we tend to use or get caught up in industry jargon or language or speak in words that wouldn't normally just flow in a conversation. And what do I mean by that? Because we want to, I'll say for lack of a better term, impress someone with our knowledge and our wisdom and our expertise, sometimes we can hide behind that industry jargon and language because it gives us credibility.
Mm-hmm.
So as we use those phrases or terminology that would not necessarily resonate with our clients unless our clients are coaches, then we're alienating them because we're not using the vocabulary. We're not speaking their language. So that's the first thing. The second thing I think we do to alienate prospective clients is to try to be someone we're not. Mm-hmm. I alluded to that earlier in my background of not being aligned with our authentic self, our true unique self, and also offering coaching services or even coaching products that are not aligned with our uniqueness. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because then we have to work so hard at it.
Right. Oh my God. I totally relate. So if I can tell a story, it's like a couple things. So that first part about using industry jargon, to me, what I also thought of as like a copywriter is something I always see people I'm working with doing is like relying too much on like their processes as a way to like kind of build their confidence in themselves in their writing versus the result that the client wants.
Right.
And like, if you're like a weight loss coach and then you're just trying to tell me about how we do so much mindset work, like that's great, but it's not going to make me want to buy from you unless you're telling me like, I'm going to help you lose weight. Cause that's what I actually want, Right. So it's like, but you think that like, people can fall in the trap of thinking like, oh, but that's how I do my work. And that's what makes me special. And that's fine. Like that'll be obviously a part of the work you actually do when the person's in the door. But to get them in the door, it's like focusing on them and what they need and how you can serve them versus your own jargon.
Right. It's meeting them where they are. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of our responsibilities as a coach is we need to meet them where they are, and I can talk about this more later, and then bringing them to where they can be, to helping them become more than what they currently are, versus these are the 193 steps we're going to take to get you there.
Which sounds like a lot of work. So I don't know if I really want to work with
exactly.
you, because that sounds like it's going to be so much work that I'd rather just find someone else.
Right. So I think that in response to your question, the first thing is using the industry jargon or language that doesn't resonate with our clients. The second one is trying to be someone we're not, or not being authentic to who we are. And the third one I would say is not being very clear or understanding how exactly we're going to make money. I know that's the bad M word. Because that's not what drives most coaches. That's not a very compelling reason to start a coaching business, is the mega bucks. And yet we need to be able to generate an income to continue to have an impact that we want to impact. So if we're not crystal clear on exactly how we're going to generate that income, on what our solution is, or your word, the result is, and how that connects with our ideal client, then once again, we're alienating them. But even though they could be an ideal client, we've lost them before they've ever signed up.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I think that to me, they really relate. And I'm thinking when I first started, it's like, I felt like I wasn't being authentic. I was really like following the lead of my coach at the time. And like, even just the example that really does it for me is like when I pick my outfits to do a photo shoot. And I really picked things that were like kind of her style, and they're not mine at all, like a dress, you know, and I never wear dresses. And so it felt liberating to take new pictures last month and be wearing like jeans with a rip in the knee and like Vans shoes, because that's really more of what I like to wear in real life.
Right.
And so that's even just a little thing. So I've always felt a little, even though I had nice photos, not like showing them off, because it was an inauthenticity there. And then when it comes to like knowing how to monetize, one of the best things I've heard recently is when I was at one of my mastermind meetings, and the sales trainer was saying, so many people get into business because they're so fired up about their product. But if more people would have the mindset of like, we're a marketing and sales company that happens to have this product, that would be better off, because that's really the engine behind it to make it happen, and so that you can have the impact like you said. So yeah, there's so much goodness there.
Another very common complaint or concern that I hear from my clients, and you probably do as well, Holly, and you just alluded to it, is I'm terrible at selling, or I don't know how to sell, or I don't want to sell. And it's this whole icky selling conversation that takes place. And I just got goosebumps even talking about it. It just makes me cringe. And I was that way for many years when I first started my business, because I didn't want to appear to be pushy or to be sales, like, ooh, that wasn't who I was.
Yeah.
So for many of my clients that I work with, most of which are heart-based entrepreneurs, soul-based, that conversation is not one that they're comfortable with either. It just, to your point about wearing an outfit that isn't right for you, we just don't feel comfortable in that conversation, and it shows. To our clients. They intuitively, subconsciously, they connect with that discomfort, whether it's the actual conversation, or if it's the price point of our program or coaching program, or if there's any discomfort, dis-ease around it, our prospects will pick up on it. They do. They won't know why they're saying no, but they will find a reason to say no.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so what advice do you have to get over those nerves that somebody might be having about making those offers?
Once again, it's an inside job. It's a mind shift.
Totally. That's a theme, everybody. So write it down. Inside job.
Inside job, yes. What helped me get over the nerves and the anxiety of having the conversation about, oh my gosh, will you actually buy my program or product? I had to recognize that I was hiding behind fear. I was fearful of rejection. I didn't want you to say no. I didn't want to say no to me. So if I didn't make the offer, or if I made a really poor attempt at what I thought was an offer, and you didn't say yes, then it was sort of okay, because you see, it wasn't me. It wasn't genuine to me. Not putting myself out there. So I was making marketing decisions and sales decisions based in fear. Bad mindset to come from. Influences behavior, decisions, energy, on and on and on. When the coach that I was working with at the time explained it to me, that sort of in your words too, Holly, that you mentioned in your mastermind, it's not a sales conversation, it's more of a solution conversation. And just shifting, the same words start with the same letters, sales to solution, but shifting my mindset into a solution conversation is what made it so much easier for me to actually engage in a heartfelt conversation with the prospect. Instead of trying to feel like I was selling something to them, I was offering them a solution. And if it resonated with them, that was terrific. If it didn't resonate with them, if they didn't say yes, I no longer took it personally. What I was able to have the conversation with myself is that they're just not ready yet for this solution. That doesn't make it a bad solution or a bad offer. It's just not the right time for them. That took the ickiness out of it for me.
Yeah, and I think that people, it's like, let's be realistic here, or like, let's just, sometimes I'm like, I need to get out of my head and just see like what's really happening. And for the most part, like, unless you're making cold calls, which is definitely possible, I suppose, for somebody watching, but like in some way, like the person like interacted with something you have, they signed up for something, they ended up booking a call, like there's some kind of like action on their end happening where they found you, and like obviously sometimes still people are not a fit, or they don't know what you did and somehow they got through all those steps. That always happens too, but like most people kind of know what you're doing, and like you can even find other ways if you want to qualify people before getting on the phone. So it's like they want what you have on some level. There's a curiosity there depending on what happened to get them on the phone with you. So like the solution mindset I really like, because it's like they kind of have a sense of wanting something that you have. And so of course you're providing them the solution. And another way to say that or flip it is like, the value, like what I heard when in your old mindset, Susan, of like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to have somebody say no to me. Like there was no talk of like what you actually bring to the table that could be of value, no realization of that in the way that you worded how you used to think. And so, it's like, you really could help somebody. Why are we forgetting that, So that's something I always hook into too when I'm having, even though now I feel like I could set an income goal and hit it. And I used to not believe that, but I now feel like, I could set an income goal and hit it. I have enough confidence in myself, but I still have my down days where I feel a little off. And it's like, Holly, like, remember, like you helped this person or you had this win. Like, yeah. So it helps throughout the journey.
We are human beings. We're not human doings. And so we all have down days. I have low energy days. I have days when I'm just off, and when I'm struggling with words and it feels like some alien has come into my body. It's like, what is going on? Well, for me, that's the day to just stop and breathe and focus on how far I've come. Again, mindset, to maybe take that 5-minute pause to stop, look around behind me and see how far I've come. That seems to then put me back into the can do, yes, I can do this mindset, versus, oh my God, I'm scared to death, I can't do this, or I'll So again, doing what you have to do, and it's different for each of us. For me, it's just stopping and closing my eyes, taking a few deep breaths, getting into my body instead of my head, which can be a really bad neighborhood sometimes. And say, okay, where was I a year ago or 2 years ago? And where am I today? And oh my gosh, where will I be in 12 more months? So you're looking at opportunities and possibilities rather than problems and obstacles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mindset.
Yes, yes. And like, you know, having a sales call can be a scary thing, or it can be like, wow, it's my opportunity to connect with this person on probably a deeper level than most people in their life are doing right now.
Right.
And, you know, have that moment. And like, I always think like there's so many millions of billions of people on the planet that somehow you guys got brought together. So even if it's just that moment, there was something
Right.
to be gained.
Similar with you and I.
Yeah, here we are again, and a repeat. So yeah, it's just funny how things work. So I just have this feeling like somebody might be kind of wondering, now that we've gotten on this topic of sales and talking to people, of like, this is great, but I feel like I'm having trouble even getting people on the phone. And so that could be a whole nother training, but do you have any like quick tips on like that part? Because I think that's something that can sometimes feel like there's ebbs and flows with it as well.
That's a great question, Holly, and I would love to talk to that for a few minutes. And I'll go back to the concept that I shared earlier about building the bridge, or being the bridge between where your clients are, your client prospects, and where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, I believe that it is our obligation to ask questions, to be inquisitive and curious, rather than telling them what we can do for them. Let me give you an example. What some of the questions that I will ask in my discovery call is, first of all, they fill out a questionnaire, very brief one, just 5 questions before the call. I have a chance to look at that. And then my 3 questions for them is, tell me how you're feeling right now. Where's your energy? Where's your attitude? What's your belief in what you're doing? So you know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where they are mentally. What's crucial is where they are emotionally, because that energetic flow is what governs everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I connect with them where they are. That's the first step in making that connection, because let's face it, it's all about connection, right? It's about building relationships. So meeting them where they are energetically, after they tell me where they are. The next question is, what have you tried? What's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you in the recent past to get the solution that you want? So again, they're telling me what they've tried, what's worked and what hasn't, so that it gives me a reference point of, all right, they have tried several things and they're still not getting the solution. There must be perhaps a deeper underlying reason that we need to get to. So that's, again, connecting with them, understanding them where they are. The third and final step is, what is it going to feel like when you have the solution to this problem? When you are no longer making decisions based in fear, or when you can have a sales conversation with a prospect very comfortably, or if you're mentioned a weight loss coach, when you have clients who have achieved the success that they want, how does that feel? So again, connecting them with the energetic flow of the possibility. This is the solution that I offer. This is what I can do for people. And when you have a conversation with someone coming from that energetic place, you don't have to say hardly anything. Because your presence, your being, yourself does the selling for you. So at the end of the conversation I have with them, it's a simple question. Is this something that you feel like pursuing? And I have a really high closure rate. And so I often get, yes, I'm ready. Whether it be a 1-month program, a 6-month program, I get more yeses than I do nos.
That's awesome.
And if it's a no, I don't take it personally, but I do ask them, if in fact there was one thing that could change your mind, that would shift you from saying no to yes, what would that one thing be?
That's a powerful question.
And that's my market research. that's how I get to know more about my ideal client. When I know what that one thing is, then that's a powerful piece of information for me to have.
Mm-hmm. So good.
Is that helpful?
Yeah. And so if they ever like, so I'm like, no, not yet. And then you're like, why? And I said, oh, I don't feel like I have the money quite yet. Do you go into like an objection handling thing too?
It depends on the conversation. Every situation is unique because two people are coming together that are creating a unique relationship. It's like dating. Sometimes you really connect with the person you're dating, and other times it's 5 minutes in, ooh, you gas and you're running from the room with your hair on fire. It's not a fit.
Oh boy, how did you know I'm in the dating world right now? So topical.
You know what that feels like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they have all the money in the world. It's like, oh, no, you just
yeah.
So it's very much intuitional, and if there would be kind of a caveat to that comment, I would say that have come to rely on my intuition to guide me rather than my intellect. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have an intelligence. I have multiple advanced degrees. I have credentials. I have tremendous intellect, but it's my intuition that is going to serve me well because it has never lied to me.
Right.
It has never led me astray. And if it doesn't feel right to ask that question or to try to deal with an objection, if I don't intuitively think that this person really is ready for it, I'm not even going to engage in the conversation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, when you say that, it's like, I think I've learned different things, and sometimes it's been like, oh, we'll handle the objection no matter what. And then now I'm at the place where I'm like, I'm not desperate. And like, sometimes I can just feel like they're not really ready.
And even if I was desperate, and they're not ready, it doesn't matter how desperate I am. I'm just going to appear to be desperate if I try to change their mind.
Yeah. And then I just thinking about but there's some people where you're like, okay, they should be doing this. Like, this program is perfect for them. They're totally vibing with you, like that kind of a thing. And then they say, oh no, money. It's like, that might be worth a conversation.
Might be.
Depending on the situation. That's how I guess into it.
And one thing that has helped me considerably, Holly, is, as you might gather from my advertising agency days, that I'm a big fan of particularly Seth Godin, because I love his marketing message. And his message is in his most recent book, which I think is his 9th book, is This is Marketing. He talks about working with the smallest number of clients you possibly can. The smallest number. If you're doing one-on-one coaching and you can only handle 25 clients, then you need to come from the mindset that I only need to attract 25 clients. You're not trying to talk to the world. You're not trying to talk to 25,000 people. You need to attract 25 clients. And so for me, how I utilize that in my business is just continually refining who my ideal client is. I know them intimately. I am an expert on who my ideal client is, so that when I am in a conversation with someone and I do hear objections, one of the red alerts for me could be, is this may not be my ideal client. And bless their hearts, that's totally fine. I'm sure they'll find a coach who's perfect for them. It's not me, and that's fine. I'm totally happy to refer them to someone who could be their ideal client. Yeah. I don't want to have to convince anyone to work with me, because that is contrary to my marketing message, which is one of attraction rather than promotion.
So attracting them. I like that. It's like I think the one word I love for that is magnetizing too. Right. It's like in your way of being instead of doing that, they're just coming forward and giving them the opportunity to come forward still, but like the right people come forward and trust.
Exactly. And in order for them to come forward, you need to be crystal clear on who they are.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your free gift, because it's super related and relevant to this topic. So if people want to keep learning your methods here, they can go to it. So
I have to, excuse me for interrupting. I was going to say, over the years, I've created a number of opt-ins and free gifts and PDFs galore. I have to say, this is one of my favorites.
Woo, okay. All right, people. Take note of that.
Very simply, it is how to attract more clients now in a checklist form.
Mm-hmm.
Because the conversation of attract more clients now can be really big.
Yeah.
We could go in a multitude of directions. We could talk about defining your ideal client and marketing and copy and language and so on and so forth. This makes it very simple. It's a checklist for you to literally check each item off. Okay, I know this about my ideal client. I need to do this. It takes the guesswork out of attracting clients. It's being visible to your ideal clients, knowing who they are, where they are, and how you can attract more of them. It's like, I picture this big magnet, and you're pulling, your energy is pulling these clients to you. So I love this checklist.
I love it. I love this too, because you can just quickly and easily see, what are the pieces or the gaps in like what I already have available. Because most people listening have started their business already, but it's like, what are the little tweaks or gaps that I do have in my process so I can become that magnet. So that sounds very valuable. If you want to grab that, it's below the video and also in the daily email that you got this interview in. So thank you for that, Susan. And thank you for your wisdom and for coming and appearing again on another interview with me.
Always a delight, Holly. You just light up the room with your energy. I love it. Thank you for being a part of this.
Yes, thank you. And everyone else watching, tune into check your email so you can tune into the next masterclass. Bye. Bye, Susan.
Bye for now.